Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have another amazing episode of the Pokemon Go Third Shield PvP podcast. And this episode, I have the one, the only Wallower himself joining us. Wallower, welcome to the stream.
Hey, guys. Hey, Daniel, thanks for having me here. I know we both started, I guess, at around the same time. I always saw your Third Shield podcast coming up on Reddit when I was posting my videos on Reddit as well. So I'm very familiar with this format, and I'm glad to be here.
Well, thank you so much. And I just realized I said welcome to the stream, but what I meant to say is welcome to the podcast.
I mean, I guess we're probably used to just doing duo streams. So, I mean, when I'm here, you're probably like, welcome to the stream. So
through that. How are you doing so far this season compared to the previous season? So when I ask this question, I usually not worry about, but what I want to get is compared to the previous season, how you finished and how you got there. And how is it transferring into over this season? Like, is it easier or is it a bigger grind, or like how are you handling this season so far?
This season was a little bit different for me. In the past, I haven't really taken my legend runs too seriously. It's kind of just been, like you kind of hit it when you get it. This season, for some reason, I decided to put a little bit of stress on myself to hit legend a little bit earlier. And so I had hit legend a bit earlier this season, but the amount of days where I think I was like one game away from legend was, I think it took years off my life. So I did take it a little bit more seriously at the beginning. I've had a little bit more of a struggle finding some new teams in Great League. I think the big problem being that this season, there weren't that many balance changes or new Pokemon. So it's hard to find a new team or something that people haven't discovered yet when it's been, I guess, 4 or 5 months of the same meta. It's kind of hard to find some more teams. I'm having fun in Halloween Cup, though. I'm glad they brought that back. That's been my favorite meta that they've created so far. So good to see that it's being reused here.
Well, since you brought it up, the Halloween Cup, let's just jump into it right away.
Sure.
So Halloween Cup, why is that your favorite? And do you have like a new team that you're running, or are you still using the teams from like the last Halloween Cup?
Yeah, Halloween Cup was my favorite because it felt like there was just so much you could play that would still be viable. So like last year, I guess, not last season, last like 5 seasons ago now, I was running teams with Beedrill, I was running teams with Mawile, I was running teams with Shadow, Victory Bell, Crustle, like these Pokemon that you never really see in all these other metas, and still a wide variety, you can still play them. In like Love Cup and Holiday, there's still Pokemon that you don't see a lot, like Alomomola and stuff like that, but there weren't that many of them. So you really did only see the same, I feel like 10 Pokemon over and over, whereas Halloween Cup has been absolutely wide open. As far as the teams I've been playing this season, haven't really got too much of a chance to play this weekend, but I did start out with a new team in Halloween. And then I kind of went back to a version of my old team, which I guess was also Caleb Peng's old team last season, just to see if it still works a little bit. And it seems like it's still working. But from what I've seen so far, it looks like the Halloween Cup meta is pretty fluid right now. It's moving around quite a bit.
What is the team that you were running from last season that you said the Caleb Pengs runs the same?
Yeah. So last season, actually, this was kind of around the start of when I started making videos as well. This is when I was not very confident in my team building abilities. And this actually was a huge step forward for my confidence in team building, was when I theory crafted and released a video on Tentacruel, Crustle, and Shadow Tyranitar. And then I found out a week later when Caleb Peng released his video, because he takes a bit longer to release. He does like the whole matchup leads and everything, right? He goes way more in depth. That his was Quillfish, Crustle, and Shadow Tyranitar. So it was almost the same team, different lead. I think I prioritized beating Azu a bit harder with Tentacruel, and he prioritized having that water damage. But either way, I was like, oh my God, if I even got close to the same thing that Caleb Peng did, you know what? Maybe I am on the right page, and that was a pretty big confidence boost. But that was the team I kind of went back to. This time, I think Quillfish, you kind of need it instead of Tentacruel. It's just Nidoqueen is the problem. Nidoqueen beats Tentacruel way too hard, and Quillfish is really the only water poison that has an answer to it at all, unfortunately. So
yeah, that sounds like a pretty good team. Tentacle was one thing that I put to the side to make sure that I try to build a team around it. And since you mentioned the team building, by the way, that's awesome that Caleb Peng came up with a similar team as you did, because that is when Caleb Peng comes with a similar team and similar playstyle, that is not only a confidence booster, but like almost like a check mark. Like, all right, it worked.
Yeah, it's like my homework got graded right there. It was like, okay, good enough.
And for team building, what do you do normally? Like, do you pick mainly a core Pokemon, a single Pokemon, and you build a team around it, or you build it around like a play style, or how do you decide what you're gonna do?
Usually it starts with a Pokemon idea. It'll be a Pokemon, for example, that I think has a lot of play in a meta that maybe it's not getting enough play in. So that doesn't mean it needs to be a Pokemon that's not getting any play at all. Like this season, I decided I've made a lot of teams around Beedrill. I think Beedrill is criminally underrated right now in Open and in Halloween. But even last season or the season before, it was more Mandibuzz. Like this Pokemon was a good Pokemon, but nobody was running. It didn't get banned in Remix. It wasn't one of the top 20 Pokemon in Great League. And I was like, this absolute tank of a Pokemon's not getting played. So you pick that Pokemon. And then from there, team building wise, the next goal is to find the core for that Pokemon. Once I found the core, then that's when I choose if I want to play ABB or balanced. So ABB being the double weakness in the back, balanced being so ABB has a core. One is in the lead, one is the closer. For my balanced teams, at least, I've got the core in the back line, and then I'll have to pick a lead. So once you pick ABB or balance, it's finding that other B, that's the Pokemon that will bait out for one of your Pokemon. If you're playing balance, it's about finding that lead that can allow your back line to get a good farm down later.
Yeah, that's a really good point to point it out. And that actually, I wanted to bring this up. Did you create the team back in the day, or did you use it? The Dark Double Ghost or Goon Double Ghost?
I created at least one of them. I'm not sure if someone did it before me, but it was the Obstagoon Gengar Haunter team.
Okay, so I thought I got it from somewhere because that's what I've been running. So
oh really?
Yeah, so this season I've been running. That's the only team I was actually, believe it or not, because it's kind of like my playstyle compared to like what I run in Ultra League with heavy damage. So
yeah.
So here, that's what I've been running. But with Gunk Shot, I don't know if that's what you use, but I use Gunk Shot, Focus Blast, and Sludge. So those are the three basically, and absolutely destroyed. I went, I think, 450 elo with it, and like an 11 win streak on the first try.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I remember making that team too, because I was like, and that wasn't even like on purpose. That was just on a stream. I was just like, I think it was around Halloween time too. It wasn't Halloween Cup, but it was just around Halloween time. And my stream at the time was more going over teams that I'd played. So I was just making a bunch of random ABB teams on stream. And I was like, wait, this one actually is really good. Somehow it's just working. So sometimes teams just work better than you expect as well. I didn't have high hopes for it when I played it the first time. I was like, okay, well, Goon and Gengar, Goon and Haunter have good synergy, but they're both so low on the rankings. They're all so squishy. Can this be a team in Great League? I don't know.
You know, it's funny you say that because I did use that team. I made it triple shiny as well, and I've been running it from like Wednesday to Friday last week. And on Wednesday, when people came to the stream for the first time, they're like, "Oh, dude, this is not gonna work. This is stupid." And they were looking it up on PvPoke, and it's like a FFF or something like that, you know, for like the rating and all that. So, and it worked so good. And then the next day they came back, and I'm like, "Oh, here we go again. We tried this team that's not supposed to work, and somehow you're still winning with it." And when I post it to YouTube, the comments are like, "Then you know, I usually like your teams, but you know, this is stupid. This team not gonna work."
I got a lot of comments like that on that too. It wasn't like they didn't say it's like stupid. They're like, "Oh, it's too squishy. I tried it, I couldn't do it," or like, "Oh, it's too squishy. I'm not gonna try it." Stuff like that. But sometimes teams just work better than you think. PvPoke is a great tool, but it's really limited in the way that it considers just a certain matchup. Whereas if you can get a farm on Gengar or Haunter on anything, or even Goon, they're all three of them are really good with an energy advantage on something. So
and the one thing is, it's like a high skill based team. Not like I'm a very good player or anything, but that's the style that I play with the team that I play every single Ultra League. You know. Yeah. So basically, I'm used to the catching and the swapping and all that kind of stuff. As far as because the number one things with Goon and Azumarill, for example, that I've been playing and winning after that is basically catching the player off on a Haunter or on a Gengar, usually because they bring in Steel against Gengar and then focus, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, all that kind of stuff. But the person, for example, who commented to your video probably doesn't know that or knows those things to play it. And they might just save shields, you know, for those two Pokemon and play it entirely differently. And then, yeah, exactly.
Because all you need to do is flip one thing. Everyone always looks at games and they're like, "Oh, I can't win this game versus this player if they play perfectly." But the fact is, unless you're playing at the very top end, and even if you are playing in the very top end, like when I'm playing against other leaderboard players, everyone makes mistakes. So you just need to hope for one mistake. Your opponent's probably going to make 5 to 10 mistakes a game even, and you just need one of them to be big enough that you can capitalize on it.
Exactly, you said it well. And then of course, one last thing I want to bring this up to you, that do you ever feel like that, so the teams that you create is not for everyone, and the teams that you see somebody use is not for you, and you would never touch it? And the question will be, why is that? Is it because, for example, your play style, you don't like to play like that, you like ABB, or maybe because of whatever reason? Like, do you have like a certain teams that you think is only suits you, or teams that doesn't suit you?
Yeah, I do think playstyle has a lot to do with how people like to. Okay, that's like saying the same thing twice, but I do think playstyle is very important to consider when picking a team. I think that's also the main reason why some people succeed in Ultra League and some people succeed in Great League. Sorry, not Ultra League Open, like Ultra Premier or Ultra Remix, where you have those the same Pokemon essentially as in Great League, but they're just tankier. So some people are really good at just keeping the lead and just winning off of that and making sure they make the right switches and stuff like that. And some people are very good at finding energy advantages and wiggling out of different situations. And each different type of team, even ABB versus balance, that's a different play style as well. As far as teams I like to play, I used to only play ABB, but I've started to expand my horizons. I figured I was getting a little bit predictable just playing ABB. So the last 2 leaderboard pushes I've made were with balance teams. And I do like the balance play style a lot too, but I still struggle a lot when I'm playing a team with 3 just extremely tanky Pokemon. I just can't do it. It's hard to orchestrate a farm down that gives you any sort of meaning any point in the game with 3 tanky Pokemon. It just seems like if you get your like Bastion on their Skarmory, you're gonna win, but if you don't, you're gonna lose, kind of deal. Which makes it a little bit tougher. I think for everyone watching, it's important to kind of understand what you play best with when looking for teams as well, and choosing a team. I think there's no shame in choosing a team from a content creator. That's the point of content creators. That's the reason a lot of us got into in the first place, is trying to help people find things that they can succeed with. And that's why I like to try and put out like maybe 3 teams per like cycle. So every time Great League is back, I try and find around like 3 teams, just because either people don't have a team, or maybe they just don't gel with the play style. Because there's always plenty of comments on every video. It's like, oh, well, this team didn't work for me, right? And maybe if even 10% of those comments are the team didn't work for you, then it's nice to provide an alternative for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's very well said. And as far as for players who maybe don't know what they should play, what do you think? What would be like best to either create a team or, you know, copy teams? So many people copy teams, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's why, like you said, we're creating these. But what do you think? What they should like maybe even look for? Like, should they just pick one team and stick with it for like a whole season if they're new players? Or how should they go about this if they don't know, you know, how to build a team or what to use, and this is their first time pushing for, let's say, even Legend?
Yeah, I think this is a really good question. And I think the answer is really important too, because I think a lot of people see what content creators do and they kind of take it a bit out of context. Not everything is one-to-one applied to the same person. So for example, I'm playing almost a new team every day, maybe every 2 days. But what people don't know is that when I first started playing, I played the same team for like 3 or 4 seasons in a row. And at the very start, when I started out with this team, and I got a bit lucky because I did make my own team, and it worked out. I got lucky with the first team. But once you start playing with a team and you just keep playing with it, that's when the improvement comes. If you're switching teams every day, it's honestly very hard to improve or get better at the game, because there's Pokemon Go, there's so much to think about. It looks very simple. You're just tapping your screen, right? But there's so many things going on, so many things that you should be thinking about that honestly you're not going to be doing. Even if you think you're doing 100% job, you go watch your replay again, you're probably not. There's so many things to think about. You need to get, I guess, better at some of those things before you can start learning other things. And if you play the same team over and over, the hardest part about picking up a new team is learning all the matchups. So for example, I was playing Halloween Cup. I'd never played with Wormadam before. Someone swapped in an Umbreon and I swapped in my Wormadam, but I swapped in a turn late, or sorry, a Snarl late. because I wasn't sure if this was the matchup, and that hesitation cost me the game. So it's even those little like 1.5 second hesitations can cost you the game. So as you play the same team and you start to remember the matchups, you see, oh, Azu comes in, I'm going to swap in my Beedrill like right away. And then I know exactly when to throw my moves. Once that becomes second nature, once you have to stop thinking, Azu, okay, Beedrill, okay, but then I need to throw Drill Run at 10, and then that's the maximum farm I'm going to get, or something like that. As soon as it just becomes like, okay, Azu comes in and Beedrill second nature, you can start thinking about, okay, well, what's the Pokemon that's going to come into my Beedrill next? I'm going to need to have an X scissor ready for that. Maybe I want to spend a shield on this Azu matchup and farm it down or something like that. And you start thinking about all the different scenarios and moving it forward. Same with counting moves. It's really hard to be counting moves if you have to think about what your matchups are all the time. So I really do recommend just sticking to one team. Like the meta will change a little bit. If you start losing for a day, honestly, just keep playing. You'll probably start winning tomorrow. And it just takes a little bit of restraint. But if you do keep playing the same team for a long enough time, it'll help you improve at the game far more than I think anything else.
Yeah, that is exactly correct, because just like you said, the matchups is everything. I mean, with my main team, when I see a Pokemon, for example, on lead, I know exactly, okay, plan A is I'm going to catch when he's there. If that didn't work, I have to use the shield. I'm going to stay in over farm again. And plan B is catch at the second time and then go on from there. But I already know these scenarios that need me to be able to win. And then later on in the game, because I did that, I can face the Pokemon again with no shields, and I'm going to be able to win because I know it wins CMP, all the kind of stuff. So if I wouldn't know that, because new teams, which I run also all the time on stream, I have no idea. Like, I'm like, okay, guys, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know. Am I winning this CMP? I'm literally asking chat. And then when they say, no, you're going to lose CMP, even though I have so much energy left. And then I was like, all right, well, I guess we lost this one.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Like exactly what you said, you've already got this decision tree, like down to like maybe 8 different scenarios, 16 different scenarios for your main team. But then when you play that first new team, you're back to square one. You're like, wait a second, what do I do here? Do I like, I don't even know a Pokemon to switch in. I don't know a shield scenario to play. Like, what is the best play here? You don't know. And you're kind of figuring that out on the go. And when I pick up a new team, there's plenty of games where I lose a game. And when I lose, I'm like, that's fine. I'm not going to lose this one next time because I know exactly what I did wrong and I'm going to do it right the next time.
Yeah, exactly. And then of course, there are some games that comes down to literally like that one timing, that one push, that one energy advantage or disadvantage. But then, and I wanted to trickle into it a little bit, but then of course we have from issues like desync, lag and all those things. How is it affecting you, you think, this season and the climb and all that? And then let's talk about an exciting thing which is coming up, the new word, the Worlds in London, you know, the Invitational. But first, how do you feel about it so far this season? How is it affecting you, and what's your opinion on it?
Well, honestly, I think lag just overall has been pretty steady, which is not a good thing, I guess, over the last, I feel like 4 or 5 seasons. I think it did get better since preseason and season 1. I think those seasons were actually really, really bad. But now we just have more types of lag that are popping up. So we used to just have the fast move, like lagging a turn at the beginning or something. And then there was the whole like fast move denials, essentially just based on fast move inconsistency, which is a bug. So we had that for a long time. Now, recently, I feel like maybe 2 or 3 months ago, there's a new bug where it's like a 2-turn lag, but it doesn't show the animation of it. So if you have this 2-turn lag, essentially your opponent will get an invisible 2-turn move through, or if they have a 3-turn move, you guys have probably all seen this where it looks like their snarl takes 1 turn and is followed up by another snarl right away. That's also the 2-turn lag. So there's just a bunch of these issues popping up. And I was kind of hopeful that they would fix a lot of these issues, because we did have that Worlds announcement and we did have that page on the Pokemon site about Pokemon Go, making it a legit thing. And we did have Twitch rivals, which kind of legitimized Pokemon Go yet again, all in a row. And the task force that talked about, or Niantic conducted the task force with a lot of regular Pokemon Go creators and then some Pokemon Go PvP creators as well. But unfortunately, I think the response to that, in my opinion, was a little bit too PvE centric. They focus a little bit too much on the stop distance, in my opinion, and not enough on the fact that there's still some pretty game breaking bugs in the game. And the other thing that makes this a little bit more frustrating for me, and it is not that there is lag, because lag, I think overall should generally affect everyone the same way. So even though the game is not working well, you're kind of all on the same uneven playing field, which is not good, but it's better than nothing. But fast move inconsistency, it seems to matter where you the region you live in. For example, if I'm playing against a player in India, I will sneak every move through, and I don't have to fast move deny. They're not getting any moves through at all. And if you're going to have Pokemon Go on the world stage as a PvP game, I feel like it's kind of important that all of these regions are treated equally. And I get that in these cases, it would probably be a LAN thing. So, well, I guess we can talk about worlds later, but it's a LAN thing. So you are on an even playing field with the people you're playing against, but having those qualifiers be based off of hitting legend in GBL, where it's not an even playing field based on which region you live in, it's kind of a bit questionable, in my opinion. So I'm really hoping that, because there's still a bit of time until Worlds, like quite a bit of time, I believe, that a lot of these issues, especially fast move inconsistency, is solved.
Yeah, I mean, and just like you said, the lag I was okay with, honestly. So I literally start saying it to people that lag is lag. It's what you call it. I call it, every professional sport has this condition. It's called a weather condition. So I like wrote it up as like weather condition. It's snowing, raining, whatever, right? But when all the other things happen, like if I start a battle, and for some reason this happens to me almost every other set on live stream, which is I start a battle, my phone crashes, or the app, it just crashes to the completely, have to restart it, and when I come back, I auto lost. And I thought that was fixed, by the way, but it is not. And I have that last week. I had it 4 times, just last week. So that's 4 losses. That shouldn't happen. So for example, if we talk about qualifying to it, that's 4 losses that could be just a 4-0, like right there, just saying, even though it was separately, it's still affecting me as a loss and losing points.
Yeah, it's actually crazy. Yeah. And I was having a weird bug too. I don't even know how to categorize it. It just seems the first game I play of every, like not every day, but I would say maybe every like 2 or 3 days, my Pokemon is just in molasses. It just, like, it's a 2-turn move that takes like 5 turns, and then you just lose that game. There's nothing you can do. The next game it's fixed. So why does this happen? Who knows? Yep,
I have that. So Berserker Shadow Claw. So my Shadow Claws are just in like confusion motion, basically. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Are you guys seeing this? I'm literally tapping, and I step out to show that what the hell is going on. And then I'm just so confused when I see that, and I'm thinking, like, did I just get a Shadow Claw for 4 turns, or it was like a visual bug, or what just happened?
Yeah, exactly. Like when I'm playing it's always my first game as well. So I'm playing my first game, like, wait, is it just my brain not acclimatized to it? Because like when I'm editing my videos, they're like 2 times speed. So I'm like, oh, I'm just used to it being faster and velocitized to the 2 times speed. And then I'm like, oh no, this Crustle got to X Scissor before my Umbreon got to Foul Play. There's something is wrong. Yep. Something is not happening correctly.
Exactly. All right. So let's come back to the words. So are you excited about it? And are you going to qualify and want to go to compete on the big stage?
Yeah, Worlds is super exciting. I've like, the reason I was making content and even pushing for leaderboards in the past was because I truly did believe, maybe a bit naively at the time, that Pokemon Go could become a full-fledged esport. Like, I played the game, I saw the potential in it. Like, it's a lot more complicated than people would give it credit for. When I originally started playing, I was like, oh, this is just for fun. But I started watching people like Kiang and Caleb Peng and realized that the strategy is not just, it's not thin. There's a lot of strategy involved in it, and it could become a real game. And I like the Pokemon franchise. VGC and stuff like that is a bit too mind gamey for me. I don't like the mind games, or not that I don't like them. I'm not very good at them. Not good at the mind games that much. So this seemed like a Pokemon based, like fully strategy based game. So yeah, Worlds, I'm very excited for it. I'm not going to guarantee I'm going to qualify or anything like that, but I'd love to give it a shot. I know that if it is based on region, my region has a lot of very, very good players. In Alberta, for example, the Shady equation now renamed. He was the runner-up for the Sylph Worlds. We've got Dial-Up Churn, who's always doing stuff for GBLA. He's always in the top 8. Like Dylan, Mr. Nolan, all consistent legends from my area as well. It would be no joke if they do it by regions, and who knows, even if my province will even get a regional. I don't know how that's going down yet, but
yeah, same here. I'm like on stream, I'm gonna say I'm qualifying, like going to qualification or whatever, you know, and push hard. But in reality, I have like 5 miles from my house, PDS Chief 2, Linden Ryu, Jingles, and I could go on and on and on. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not qualifying. Yeah. But yeah, it's awesome. I'm very excited about it. And I hope you qualify, because I would love to see you on the stage. But
yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. And then just like you said, I just want to add to it real quick, the believing in the game and you jumping on and creating content and pushing leaderboard because you thought that eventually it will get to this where we are heading to. And that's exactly why I literally jumped into Pokemon Go, like at this point, a year and a few months, I think, when I started. And basically, when the first podcast with PvPoke I did, we met you. I asked him what does he think about esports. Of course, he said that he wants it to happen and all that, but you know, it's a dream. And then I said the same thing, but at the same time, I believe it's going to happen, and finally, it's happening. So I'm excited that you're seeing the same thing.
Yeah, I think I don't think there were many people out there who actually thought it would happen. I think, well, at that publicly we thought it would happen. I think it was kind of one of those things where if you were like, oh, Pokemon Go might be an esport one day, you kind of got laughed at and not bullied out, but, you know, like just overwhelmed by the other opinions. So if you did have that opinion, you'd kind of either keep quiet or just talk to the people that you also knew shared the same values. It did seem like it could be a good game, and I hadn't been playing for that long. I know lots of people had been playing Sylph for maybe, I think it was a year or two before, or a year and a half probably, before GBL actually came out. And so they've probably been playing for that long and realized this lag has not gotten better over 1.5 years. Whereas I just started playing GBL, and when I started, it was really bad, and it kind of was starting to get better. So I was like, okay, well, if we extrapolate that, it's going to be all fixed in like 3 months and everything is going to be good. But here we are, I guess a year later, it seems to have gone maybe like this, and then just...
I mean, just to add to this real quick, Toad Tactical listed an issue, which was a fast move denial that already was like happening a year and I think 6 months now ago. And it's still there. He shared the post. He shared a post in a video that he originally did to me on the last podcast when I was up with him. And then he literally said that, Daniel, I mean, I did this a year. And I think when we did the podcast was a year and like 3 or 4 months. Now I think it was 2 months ago. So a year and 6 months at this point, and it's still there. So it's kind of like worrying, but it's also you questioning why the hell they're not fixing it, or what's behind it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And I think it might have to do, like, you'd think a bug of that magnitude, like this bug affects every single game that is ever played in Pokemon Go. That's a really big bug. Like if you think about all the other ones, like Pidgeot, Feather Dance, crashing the game and stuff, that's like, you think that's a big bug. It's not a big bug. It affects almost no games. They disable Pidgeot, it's fine. But this is a really big bug. And I didn't know it had been around for a year and a half. I knew it had been around for at least a year, because that's when fast move denial got figured out by the Japanese. But the fact that it's been around for a year and a half makes me think it has to do with something that's with the very core of the game. And I think that they would have to, like, I don't know much about technology, so you guys can probably all laugh at me here, but they probably have to like rewrite all the code or something, for like remake the thing from the ground up to fix it, because they said they had that fix right on the known issues pages. It said they had a fix and they were testing it or something like that. That was, I don't know how many months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, it feels like. And if it's not released yet, probably means the fix didn't work, I'm guessing, or like, why would you delay it, right? I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, I think the last update we looked at with Toad Tactical, I think on the stream, and it says they acknowledged it, but there's no new update since then. I think the latest what it was. So even if it said like testing it, they probably went back to like testing again now. You know, like maybe from scratch, just like you said. Maybe it's a way bigger issue than we think.
Yeah. And that makes sense. And my worry is the way that they're going to handle these types of issues as well. the reason I'm worried is because at the higher level of play, I think gets more affected by the new bugs that are coming in. It seems like a lot of the bugs that are happening now, and I don't know if you've been having this, it's not lag, but you have like a 3-turn move and they have a 3-turn move, so they should be going at the same time. But sometimes you see them have like a faster one and then a slower one, and then like they're not really going. You're like, are they actually lagging or is it just visual lag? I think this visual lag thing is a big problem, especially at the high level, because you're making plays based on what you see. So if you don't count moves, it doesn't matter to you. It doesn't affect most people. And I think that's what I'm worried is Niantic is going to start fixing these bugs. And instead of fixing them, they're going to cover them up under something like visual lag. So I'm not going to see my Pokemon lag for 2 turns, but I'm going to see my opponent's animation come really fast once and then again slowly. And I'm not going to know that unless I was paying attention, I'm not going to know I lag 2 turns. I'm not going to know that they're actually a move ahead of where they're at. And then, as you know, like if you're trying to go for a CMP tie, you need to know the exact count. If you mess up by 1, you're gonna have to spend a shield, or you're gonna have to take that damage, or you might just straight up lose the game if you don't have shields. So when you're trying to play to that exact of a level, I think the visuals are extremely important, and I'm scared that their solutions for these bugs are going to be covering them up, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's a huge deal, especially when they go to the esports level. So I'm really hoping they're fixing them up. Then one other thing I want to bring up with the esports, though, it makes perfect sense that this would be esports. Because think about it, how easy to watch, how entertaining it is and energizing it is. And also how quick one match is. I mean, less than 5 minutes, right? It could be way less than 5 minutes. It could be a minute. And all that, and it's done, and that's it, and you move on. But the reason I'm saying this is because for esports betting, which is a big deal, this would be huge. I mean, think about it. Let's say you're on the stage against King or whatever, and then people can actually bet online who is gonna win. I mean, it could be really toxic, you know, because you can.
Esports betting always is, but it's always still fun. So
yeah, exactly. So it's so much. I mean, I just cannot wait that it actually happens because it will be huge. And then it's very entertaining. One thing I want to bring up this is I was kind of disappointed a little bit. It was really cool and I celebrated it. Like I was very excited about it. But the results I was disappointed about a little bit. But the Twitch Rivals, did you watch it?
I watched part of it. So I had to go around after the catch phase. So I did watch the Twitch Rivals stream for a little bit. And I hopped into like Kim's stream for a little bit, King's stream for a little bit, just to see what they're up to in terms of catching and stuff like that. I like the format a lot. It seemed really cool. I would have loved to play in like a catch and then battle type. Like we haven't done that since Catch Cup, but that was different, right? It wasn't like, it was like you had weeks and then that doesn't make it fun anymore. But when you're grinding as hard as you can for an hour to find the best Pokemon you can, that's pretty cool. So I didn't really like that. I didn't get to see how the battles went. I know Caleb Pank's team won, but maybe you can fill me in on like if there was any lag or issues or.
Oh, that's normal, but everybody just played it off.
Of course.
One thing that I wanted to bring up is before we jump into that, the Catch Cup. So esports before COVID in Tokyo, there's supposed to be like the esports whatever celebration at the big stadium, and that's when they first announced only on that side of the world that they're gonna have Pokemon Go on the esports event, and it's gonna be a Catch Cup. So you're gonna catch and battle. So the only reason I'm bringing this up to you is because that's what we saw again. They just brought it back, but they did it virtually, right? So is that the format we're gonna see for esports or for the tournaments, or how is it, or what? And then if yes, because what we were worried about esports is the gap for a new player to a pro player is huge. It's the biggest of any game because you have to get to level 40 at least, and then the real grind starts to get XLs and all that. So you have to put in so many hours, so many months, I should say, and all that. So in this Twitch Rivals, they got brand new accounts. So again, I bring up the questions. Is it what we're gonna have? Like we're gonna have like maybe a pro account once we qualified that we get at each place where we go to, and then we just use the Pokemon like that, or because then the advantage or disadvantage is gone against the player that has been playing since the game came out and have every single Pokemon maxed out with the perfect IVs, right? So what do you think?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Actually, I didn't know that in Japan that's how they debuted it as well. But I mean, if they're bringing it back for Twitch Rivals, I mean, it makes sense for Twitch Rivals too, because I think are trying to get some people who don't really play Pokemon Go at all into it. So I think that does make sense as the format. But if they tested it before, they tested with Catch Cup and they're bringing it back in Twitch Rivals, maybe we will see that on the. I honestly think that would be exciting because each little, depending on the spawns that they put out, each tournament is going to have its own different meta. I think that's super cool. And even if it's not revealed beforehand, you kind of just go into it and have to catch. I think that adds another level of potential skill, and like team building ability is more important at that point too, which I would like, honestly, selfishly. But yeah, that could be a really cool idea. I would love to see there be just a catch phase for every competitor at the beginning, and then you kind of play through it. And that does make a lot of sense. I think if they were going to do Twitch Rivals, you'd think if everyone had a Pokemon Go account, the easiest way to do it would just be open Great League, just allow anything. The pros are just playing pros, like whatever, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that they did catch for everyone is, it seems like either it's just a test for something, because I feel like Niantic doesn't do anything not for a reason.
Yeah, so, exactly. I agree.
So yeah, maybe that's the format. That'd be super exciting. I think that'd be hype.
I didn't hate it, and I don't say I don't like it, because I do like it. I really liked it actually, just because of that. It adds just the extra edge to it, especially if you go to a tournament like you're in London and everybody has like half a day to go out and catch, or everybody at the same spot. You would see all these people, out and catching and then trading. Hopefully, it's allowed to trade and all that to get a better IV or whatever. But also, what I was gonna say is the shiny flex, like for the battles. Did you see that or no?
Yeah, well, I didn't see them actually play with it, but someone had a shiny Lapras
and a shiny Mawile for the battle. A shiny Mawile.
And for the battles had a shiny Mawile, and I think one of King's teammates had a shiny Lapras or something like that. I was like,
that's awesome. It was cool just to see. I was watching Kayla Peng when he was battling her, and then the shiny Mawile came out, and then Kayla Peng, the reaction was like, "What? How the hell did she get that?"
It's probably like, she's hacking. How did she get the shiny?
But anyways, getting back to this. So the Twitch Rivals, I enjoyed it and everything, and the idea was cool. And I like how it introduces more people to it. The only thing I didn't like is kind of like the setup was not very professional. I feel like it could have been way better. I think because if you want to compete with other esports and we're just coming into this, I think it needs to be leveled up a little bit. That's all. That's one thing. I'm not negative about it. I think it's like maybe like a feedback that maybe they take or not, doesn't matter. But the point is, that's what I think. And then last but not least is just, I don't know what it was, but it started out with like 12,000 people watching. And then by like a little bit over halfway through, that halved. And then by the end of it, it went all the way down to like 2,000. So obviously there was something there that why people left or stayed or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So I didn't watch it constantly, like all the way through. I was just checking in and out, so I never know what was actually happening. But I just one thing that it was just worrying a little bit, but that's all.
Yeah, I wonder if it was like lag-based stuff too. I know if I was watching like a professional stream or like an esports thing, like today I was watching. I used to play Dota 2 a lot. The Worlds just ended today, so they just had their finals and stuff like that. There's no lag in the game, right? If there's lag like every 30 seconds or so and the players were stuttering and making mistakes because of it, I don't know if I would want to watch that at all. So I can see why people would turn it off or switch to something else if they have to do that. One other thing I wanted to mention about what they might have been able to improve for Twitch Rivals, because it frustrated me as a player who I think knew what was going on and probably frustrated a lot of people out there too, was just, I think they need, and this isn't a shot at the hosts or anything, I think they did a good job for what they were given, but I really do think that they needed one of the pros, I guess, there as not a main commentator or maybe but just an analyst or something like that. Because the amount of times I had to hear like, oh, she's just got the Charmeleon, or she didn't have enough candy to power up the Charmeleon or something. I'm like, no, it's a Charmeleon because she didn't want to use the ETM on Charizard kind of deal. Like there's a reason for all this stuff. It's not like, oh, they have enough candy. It wasn't candy reason. It wasn't a Stardust reason. You have to spend more Stardust to get a Charmeleon to 1,500 anyways, right? Yep. So there is a reason for all of these things. And I think a lot of people, especially casuals, might be looking at this and being like, this player's not even leveling up their Charmeleon. Why aren't they using a Charizard? Because in the main series games, you would never use a Charmeleon. You would always use a Charizard. There's got to be a reason. And not explaining that, I think, is a mistake. It makes it look like the players don't know what they're doing. when truly they know more about what they're doing than anyone else watching.
Yeah, that's a real good point. That is a real good point. So I'm glad you brought it up. But yeah, so all of these, but needs to be worked out. But I like the idea, and it's pretty cool that they actually did it. And Speedy did a good job. Caleb did a good job. King did a good job. They did a good job. I enjoyed them a lot, actually. I was watching between them. And then okay, so we're going on forever, which I love, by the way. I could pick your brain all day, but of course I have to wrap it up eventually. So what I want to bring up before we wrap this up is a few things. So this season, is there any team that really stands out for you that you love using, or you want to test out but you don't have the candies yet, or want to build, or anything like that that you want to test out or going to test out, or you're already using, like I said, but like stands out from other seasons?
Honestly, this might seem like a cop-out, but really it's not a cop-out. I've been struggling, like I said earlier, to try and find like a new exciting team that I want to run in Great League this season. And the other leagues I don't really care about as much. If I build a good Ultra League team, it's fine, but I always will. I do now and will always care more about Great League than the other leagues. As far as these teams go, I've really just wanted to find a more solid team with Beedrill. I really still think it's underappreciated. I've liked playing the last team I built a lot with Umbreon, Venusaur, and Beedrill in the back. That was a lot of fun, but because I'm playing it balanced, there's so many issues with just Skarmory. But I don't know. Oh yeah, the other thing, I just finished building my Sableye. It took me 4 or 5 months of walking. I'm finished it now. So I want to find a Sableye team. Maybe I'll try out that old Psionics showcased team of Bastiodon, Sableye, Medicham, but I don't have an XL Bastion, so I feel like I'll just be frustrated every time I lose by 2 HP or something like that.
I have faced the team so many times, by the way, lately. Yeah, it's all over the place.
I want to be on the other side of the beatdown, you know?
Yeah, true. What I was gonna say, and right now, so you're streaming still. You're back to your normal schedule, or you're back to a schedule, I should say, because traveling is kind of over. So what? When do you usually stream, and what time, and what do you usually stream besides Pokemon?
So I stream at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and usually I'll just stream Pokemon Go for now. I've been busy with some IRL stuff that I've pushed off for too many months. But as I'm finishing this up, I'll probably move back to streaming Pokemon Unite every once in a while. I was in the middle of Pokemon Sword Shield Nuzlocke for a little bit there that I need to continue because I'm not giving up on that thing. But besides that, it's mostly just been Pokemon related stuff. I think I streamed Dota as well once, but that was more of just for fun to show my viewers what I've been talking about this whole time. And it's a bit harder to stream these other games, right? Because like you said, Pokemon Go, it's an easy to understand game just looking at it. And once you have understanding of Pokemon, it's easy to see Pokemon Unite. You're like, at least you can say, oh, look, it's a Charizard, or oh, look, it's a Venusaur. Like, I know these things. These things are familiar to me. Like, then you go to Dota, it's like, what is going on my screen? I understand nothing anymore. So it is harder to branch out from those games. Dota is definitely the game that I've played the most in my entire life. I would love to have streamed it, but I'm not good enough at that game to provide any professional advice or anything on it. So.
Well, it's also the gap became big because that game has been out for so long. So now you would have to keep up with it constantly. And then, of course, no, just like Pokemon Go. Yeah. But Pokemon is actually easier to get in, I should say, because of, all that. But it's still rough, especially at the top levels. But and also, what I was going to bring up Unite. So, well, the new season still haven't started yet in Unite, so we still,
Really? Wait, it's still not season 2 yet?
Yeah, it's still not season 2. It's 30 more days.
Oh my God.
Is it 30 or 40? I don't even know. It's still far away.
Wow, I thought it ended. So I stopped playing Unite because I got busy. Mm-hmm. And then I heard it was ending. Season 1 was ending. So I was like, hey, I better hit Master.
So this is a fake season, I should say, because it technically ended, but you're still at your level where you were. So I hit Masters and I'm still Masters and I'm just going with my Elo up and down. And everybody's the same level where they left it, but they technically created a new season rewards. Like you have a whole new round of new rewards for the season and you get a new end season reward. So technically it's season 2, but it still says season 1 under your Elo and all that. And the reason why they did this is because mobile. So this is like a pause season because the mobile came in and they restarted it, the game technically, with the mobile players. And at the end of this, we'll probably get finally season 2, and then it starts from 0 again with the elo and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah, I hit master. I don't think I played a game since I hit master.
Yep.
Because it was so stressful just getting there at the end. I was like, you know what? By the end of it, I was like, I don't even want to play this anymore. I played so much over the last 2 days, and it's just raging at teammates and stuff like that. You know how it goes.
Oh my god, it got so much worse. After I hit masters, because people stopped caring. So what they would do is they try new Pokemon and stuff like that. And then there was one point I called top or I called jungle, whatever it was, and it was like 3 people in jungle, 3 people up top. And I was like, what is going on? Is this masters? It was kind of annoying. So after that, I stopped. I was like, I'm not doing it anymore.
That makes sense. And that was my problem for my final push. I pushed through, what was the second highest one? Ultra or something like that?
Yeah.
Like the lower levels of Ultra, it was nice and easy. And then I started getting master players on my team, and it felt like the master players would just either steal your jungle or steal your lane or pick like the non-viable Pokemon or the newest Pokemon, even if it was not good, kind of deal. And it was just like, because they don't have the same vested interest that you do, because you and the rest of your teammates do. They're trying your hardest to get to master in the first place.
Exactly. That they said it correctly. That's exactly what it is. All right. So when can people find you, by the way, if they want to check you out?
I guess you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/WallowerPogo. And then I'm on YouTube as well, just as Wallower. So you guys can find me there, I guess. Yeah, that's probably it. I'm on Twitter as well. I don't know, the classic stuff, but if you just search Wallower, I'm sure it'll come up.
For a second, when you said Pogo, it had me think for a second. I was like, what the hell is Pogo? It's Pogo. So now I got it.
Yeah, I was going to say Pogo. I'm like, is there another way to spell Pogo? I don't want to mess this up. So.
Yeah. That's fine. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate talking to you. And I had lots of fun. Is there anything else you would like to say to wrap this up, or anything you want to share to the community, to anybody, or anything whatsoever at this point?
Honestly, I think I don't really have too much to say. I'm just hoping all this lag gets fixed. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, that's what we all hope for. So I hope so too.
Yeah. And thanks for having me. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you so much.